This is a beginner guide for Preservation Evokers in Season 3 of Dragonflight for patches 10.2 and 10.2.5. I can promise you there's going to be no information overload in this video, so let's get into it. Starting off, let's look at the stat priority. Now, if you are a total beginner, we don't want to overwhelm you, and you should be looking, when looking at stat priorities, at going for intellect and eye level, which do come hand in hand, over everything else. Don't worry too much about the secondary stats. However, if you would like to look at secondary stats, this is the priority you should follow. For raiding, the top priority is always going to be mastery, and then for Mythic Plus, you kind of want to be looking at haste and mastery together. After that, it's going to be crit being a bit better than verse, and then with raid, the last one is actually going to be haste. So as you can see, it does differ quite a lot, depending if you are doing raiding or Mythic Plus content. But again, if you're a total beginner, just focus on getting a higher and higher eye level and more intellect. It is going to be the biggest increase for you. I also do suggest that while this is a good priority to follow, you do always sim your character depending on the weighting of the stats you have on your gear to make sure you are getting the best output. If that sounds like a load of old rubbish to you and you don't know what I'm talking about, please do join my Discord if you need any help with simming or don't know about it, and I can help you. I have a full written guide in there. Moving on to talent trees, this one on the left is for raiding and single target. The one on the right here is more AoE or Mythic Plus based. One thing I will say is that I'm not going to go through every individual talent, nor am I going to go through every single individual spell. I am going to take you through all of the important ones that you need to know about and will be using. However, with that being said, once you're a lot more comfortable with the rotation and the specialization of being a preservation evoker, do come back and just take your time, take maybe half an hour, cup of tea, and if you're a Brit like me, then look through all of the individual talent points and spells and just see how they all fit together. To not overwhelm yourself at the start, like I said, let's just look at the core ones, starting with cooldowns. Preservation Evoker is actually really interesting, and I think one of the most unique classes there are, and I'm actually starting to really love it now that I've gotten a lot more used to it. So starting at the top, we've got Tip the Scales. This is going to make your next empowered spell max power and instant. If you're wondering what an empowered spell is, well, with evokers, we actually can charge up our spells. For example, let's look at Fire Breath at number 1 on my action bar to the right here. You can see that it says 1, 2, and 3, dealing more damage depending on what empower level it's at. So that cooldown I've just showed you, Tip the Scales, is going to mean it's actually at number 3 and instant. Let's use Fire Breath and to see how it works. You can see charging at 1, 2, and 3, and that is how that is going to work. So again, Tip the Scales is going to make your next empowered spell maximum empowerment and be instant cast. Next up is Fury of the Aspects. This is basically Bloodlust, but for an evoker. If you're not sure what that is, it's a buff where we can grant our party or raid, everyone in it, 30% haste. That's 3-0. It's huge for 40 seconds. This is going to be called out by your raid leader, or maybe your party leader, or the tank, or just someone more knowledgeable. Maybe you know when to use this yourself, but it's a really huge cooldown that we can use. Obsidian Scales then, top right, reducing damage taken by 30% for 12 seconds. It's just simply a really great defensive ability we have at our disposal. Onto the bottom line, we've got Stasis, and this is one of the really interesting ones I mentioned, causing our next 3 helpful spells to be duplicated, and it's going to store all of that healing in a time lock. And then when we use the spell again, it's going to unleash all of that healing it's got stored, which I think is really cool and unique. Speaking of unique, we've got Rewind, and really it's actually simpler than it sounds, but we'll keep with the wording because it sounds cool. It rewinds 33% of the damage taken by all allies in the last 5 seconds. So basically, it's just going to heal that amount for them, but worded in a really cool way. It's a really powerful AoE heal, as is the next one, Emerald Communion. Restoring 20% health and 2% mana every 1 second for 5 seconds. Any overhealing, however, is to be transferred to your nearby allies. And do not underestimate this. It is also a fantastic AoE heal. Moving on then to our utilities. Evokers have a lot, and they're really unique again. One of my favourites at the top here is Cauterizing Flame, which is going to remove all bleed, poison, curse, and disease effects. A lot of classes, especially healers, can usually only dispel like maybe curse and disease or poison and curse, and magic and curse, things like that. We can actually do a hell of a lot of them with this, including bleeds, which is amazing. It is on a large cooldown, however. Speaking of the normal spec ones, we do still have Naturalize on the bottom right here, cleansing magic and poison effects. This one is on a very, very short cooldown and is much, much easier to use. But don't forget you have got Cauterizing Flame as well. Going back up to the top, we've got Quell. This is the interrupt or kick for evokers. If you don't know what a kick is, it's an interrupt. The original kick or interrupt was kick from a rogue, and it's kind of just been adopted as WoW slang, if you will, that when people say kick, they do actually mean your interrupt. And this is going to interrupt spell casting on the mob you are fighting. This is really, really useful. Don't forget to use it when you can. Blessing of the Bronze is going to reduce the cooldown of movement abilities for allies, which is really, really useful. And then again at the bottom, Hover, increasing your movement speed, and you can actually cast while moving, which is really cool. Shamans can also do this as well. Not many classes can, however, and it's really, really fantastic, especially for you as a healer. You know, sometimes we have to stop healing and move, but with this you don't. Zephyr reduces the damage for your party from AoE and area of effect, that is, and applies a speed boost to them. Again, really, really useful. Now that we've looked at these, let's actually go into game and see how it all comes together. So first up, I'm going to move out of the way so you can see we've got this ability here, Blessing of the Bronze. Remember I spoke about this before? Well, this is going to reduce the cooldown of all major abilities for your party and raid members for 15% for 1 hour. So don't forget to get this up as a buff for everyone before you go into combat. A few other things about my UI that I am going to be taking you through. One is this little one here that I'm swirling my mouse around. This is an add-on called Voodoo, and it's actually how I heal as a healer. It's going to make your life a lot easier. I'm going to show you that in a bit to make your life easier too. Another thing is this weak aura here. And this is going to basically show all of our cooldowns, our buffs, and our resources as an evoker. There's a link down below in the description for this. Same as talent trees, you can import those straight into the game using the links in the description. And if you're wondering what's a weak aura, what is this one? Well, it's called Luxfoss's weak aura for evokers. And if you're not sure what a weak aura is or how to get this into your game, or you need help with it at all, feel free to just join my Discord. In fact, if you have any questions about the class, UI, add-ons, anything at all to do with World of Warcraft, please do join the Discord, especially if you're a beginner and need help. WoW is an overwhelming and complex game, and I'm here to help you. We have a really, really fantastic community that are all about helping each other learn. And we have some really new people in there as well to the game. So everyone's learning together. And it's a really great place to be without feeling judged or having pressure to perform, etc. And we also do Mythic Plus and dungeon runs, things like that, to help you get up to speed, again, without feeling under pressure, because we know how, you know, it can be a bit of an elitist game sometimes. But anyway, that's that. Let's go on to the actual spells themselves. This bar here is going to be some of the main core spells we're going to be using. And I will just say we're starting off with the single target and raid build. So first up, we've got Fire Breath here. This is an empower spell. You're going to inhale, stroking your inner flame, release to exhale, burning enemies in a cone in front of you, dealing damage. Reduce beyond 5 targets. Empowering causes more of the damage to be dealt immediately instead of over time. You'll also notice this talent here, Leaping Flames. Fire Breath, the spell we just mentioned, is actually going to cause your next living flame to strike an additional target per empower level. And for that reason, we want to be using our Fire Breath at the maxed empowerment, which is free. If I move out of the way again, you can see I've got a buff here, Leaping Flames, and I've got 3 stacks of that. And it is also on my weak aura here. So because we went at level 3 empower, we've got 3 stacks of that Leaping Flame. If we only let it go off at level 1 empowerment, we'd only get 1 stack of that. So just to recap on that then, whenever we empower it per level, it's going to cause our next Living Flame to strike an additional target. So what is Living Flame? Well, it's actually this spell here, this red one. Send a flickering flame towards your target, either healing an ally or dealing fire damage to an enemy. So basically, when you use your Fire Breath, depending on the empower level you use it at, your Living Flame is actually going to heal or do damage to more targets, which is, of course, fantastic. The next spell we have here is Dream Breath. It's on a 30-second cooldown. This is another empower spell. We're going to inhale, gathering the power of the dream, and release to exhale, healing 5 injured allies in a cone in front of you. And as you can see here, it has 3 empower levels. Now, we're actually going to want to pair this with another spell, and that's going to be Verdant Embrace. We're going to fly to an ally and heal them, or heal ourselves. Now, I can't show you us flying because I haven't got any allies nearby, but you can see I can use it here and heal myself. And you see on the weak aura I've got, there's this little buff here. So let's have a look at what that is. Well, it's this here, Call of Ysera. Verdant Embrace increases the healing of your next Dream Breath by 40%, or your next Living Flame by 100%. So basically, when we use Verdant Embrace, we're going to get the Call of Ysera, increasing the healing of our Dream Breath, which is our Empower one, by 40%, which is absolutely massive. So you do want to try and use these together, actually in this order, wrong way round there, and this is going to be really, really useful. So when are we actually going to use these spells? Well, Fire Breath we're going to use on cooldown, and then we're going to use Verdant Embrace and Dream Breath when the raid is sort of lightly or moderately injured and needs, some healing. The next one on our spell list is Spirit Bloom, diverting spiritual energy, healing an ally for an amount, splits to injured allies within 30 yards when empowered. It's another empowerment spell, and we're going to use this when anyone really is, again, moderately injured. And you can see it's on a 20-second cooldown, and we can empower this here. The next one we have is really, really important, and is actually what this whole build is based around, which is Emerald Blossom. Grow a bulb from the Emerald Dream at an ally's location. So if I use it on myself, it's stunning. Healing up to 5 injured allies within 10 yards. We're actually going to want to get as many of these out as we can when the damage is about to come in a large amount, so that we can unleash all of that healing. There's a few other talents and things I want to show you regarding this. One of these talents here is Essence Burst. Living Flame, which again is the this one here that can either heal or damage, that's going to do multiple targets with our Flame Breath. Living Flame has a 20% chance. And Reversion, that's the reversed time healing cooldown, has a 15% chance to make your next Essence ability free. If you're saying, what's an Essence ability? Well, that's actually what this is here. We actually can have 6 Essences as an Evoker, and these are going to recharge over time. You'll then see that Emerald Blossom is going to cost free essence. You can see here it's slowly recharging. This one here is our mana, and our essence is recharging. So when we use Emerald Blossom, that is our essence spender. So let's just recap on that then. That Living Flame has a 20% chance to make our next essence ability free, and that is called Essence Burst. When we get that buff, it is going to mean that our next Emerald Blossom is going to be completely free and not spend any essence. We can also see with Essence Attunement that it's actually going to stack 2 times this buff, which is really, really good, because then we've got 2 stacks of it, meaning we can use it twice. Now, this is where it gets really fun with this Emerald Blossom build. Let's go down to this talent here. In fact, let's go down to this talent, Fluttering Seedlings. Emerald Blossom sends out flying seedlings when it bursts, healing 2 allies up to 40 yards away. And then going down to Field of Dreams, you gain a 30% chance for one of your Fluttering Seedlings, which is this one we've just spoken about, to grow into a new Emerald Blossom. But the fun doesn't stop there. We go down to Cycle of Life. Every 3 Emerald Blossoms leaves behind a tiny sprout, which gathers 10% of your healing over 8 seconds, and the sprout then heals allies within 30 yards, divided evenly among targets. So with these talents I've just shown you, we're going to have about 569 Emerald Blossoms going out. Fantastic. So just to recap on that, because it might have confused you, with our Living Flame, it has a chance to give us Essence Burst, which also stacks 2 times. We're going to use that on our Emerald Blossom. Our Emerald Blossom can also send out seedlings, which are going to heal people. And that's actually got a 30% chance for one of those Fluttering Seedlings to grow into a whole new Emerald Blossom, starting off a chain reaction. Every 3 Emerald Blossoms leave behind a tiny sprout, gathering healing, and then healing people evenly. Really, really useful, and that's the core of this build. The next spell we have is Reversion. Again, this is a 8-second cooldown. It's going to repair some allies' injuries, healing them a bit over 14 seconds. You don't have to use this on cooldown. It's not the most efficient spell. I would say just keep it up on the tank is quite a good way to play as a beginner, just so it's sort of ticking over on them. When it critically heals, however, its duration is extended up to a maximum of 11 seconds, just FYI. And then after that, of course, we've got Emerald Communion, which you can use as a self-defensive if you need all of that healing, or you can use it to heal everyone else's AoE. Don't underestimate it, because obviously the overhealing is going to be transferred to injured allies nearby. And it is pretty clever in how it will choose who to pick to heal. So let's see how it all comes together then. We're going to be using our Fire Breath on cooldown at max empowerment so that our Living Flame can cleave. Living Flame is your kind of filler ability, if you will. We're going to use Verdant Embrace, which is going to increase the healing of our Dream Breath. And we're going to use our Dream Breath, woohoo. We can use Spirit Bloom on whoever the hell we like when we need moderate healing. And we're going to be using our Essence Blossom as our Essence Spender. And remember, we've just gone through how that all works with the different procs on that, etc. Keep Reversion on the tank, but it's not super duper important. And then Emerald Communion you can either use as a self-defensive or a sort of defensive for everyone else. Don't forget, of course, about Rewind. Rewinding 33% of damage taken in the last 5 seconds for all allies. This is really, really useful. But that is pretty much the core kind of healing priority for single target and raiding. Let's swap over then to Mythic Plus. Hi guys, it's actually me from the future. I've just realized I forgot to show you a few things. One is Mastery. Healing done to allies is increased by a certain percentage while their health percentage is lower than your own. Always try and keep your health above everyone else's. If you're at full health, woohoo. That is fantastic. Another one is the set bonuses. This is the set bonus this season here. Of course, it is already into the rotation and priority list that I've shown you, but I just want to talk over very quickly what it actually is. So your Empower spells are also going to cast extra living flames out, which is really, really useful. Again, paired with your Fire Breath and getting even more living flames out, you know, this is really, really fun. And then the 4 set actually means that Living Flame itself has a chance to send out Echo. This is what we're going to be going over in a second in Mythic Plus anyway. Wraps an ally of temporal energy and causing your next non-Echo spell to cast an additional time at more healing. TLDR, the 4 set, is going to mean that your Living Flames are actually casting out Echoes for you. And one last thing is, like I said, Voodoo. So it's this, this bar here. We click onto it in the mini-map. You can see it all looks quite confusing, but I'm going to show you really just the really simple part of it that you need to know. So if you go into spells here, you can see it says modifier key and mouse key. So left click or left button is Living Flame, meaning when I left click on the nameplate in the party frames of Voodoo, it's going to cast Living Flame. With control, it's Spirit Bloom, meaning control left button does Spirit Bloom. And then again, and it will release it for the Empower. This is literally all you need to start healing with a healing add-on in Dragonflight. This add-on, of course, can get a lot more complex, but at its simplest, this is really all you need and makes healing so much more efficient. Now, back to the video, up with Mythic Plus. So if we change our talents over here, you can see these are the ones that we're going to be changing over to for Mythic Plus. Again, both builds are in the description. So a few things have changed here then. But really how we play the spec isn't going to change much. It's more just the cooldowns, etc. that I've previously mentioned. There's one new main spell we're going to be using called Echo. More on that in a second. But let's go through again the priority very quickly. This is for Mythic Plus now. So again, we're going to be using Fire Breath on cooldown and then using Living Flame on allies or enemies afterwards, depending if you're trying to get some DPS in or healing. Same as in Raid, sort of. Again, then casting Dream Breath, you can cast this at maybe 1 or 2 or 3, it depends really. Again, use it with Verdant Embrace. Verdant Embrace is going to be your main single target heal in Mythic Plus, by the way. So these two are quite important. Again, use them together. With our Spirit Bloom, you can see, again, with the empowerment, it's healing 1 ally at 1, healing 4 at 4. In raiding, of course, we always want to use this at max. We're generally healing more people. In Mythic Plus, it's a lot more situational, as Mythic Plus really is as a playstyle anyway. So if you need a big heal on, say, the tank or someone specific, just do it at 1 person, okay? Don't worry about wasting the rest of the empowerment, you know, because they could die, and that's not what we want as a healer. Whereas if the whole group needs healing, then use it for all of them. It really does depend. Now, whereas before we're using Emerald Blossom as our Essence Spender, we're going to be using Echo a lot more in Mythic Plus. This is going to wrap an ally with temporal energy, healing them for healing mounts and causing your next non-echo healing spell to cast an additional time on that ally at 105% of normal healing. So sorry about my outburst there. So it's going to basically heal them and then cause your next non-echo healing spell to cast again on that target at even more healing than usual. So it's really, really, really useful getting that echo on people, and then when the damage comes in, using that other healing spell to do even more healing on them. If it is like sustained AoE damage coming in, just use your Emerald Blossom, where Echo is, of course, a bit more single target, but you can use Echo proactively, or if you know that damage is like about to come in, to get that on, damage comes in, boom, you've then done double healing with whatever the next spell is, be it Verdant Embrace or Dream Breath, etc. With Reversion, which you've got 2 charges of, then in Mythic Plus, do just keep this on the tank. It's a bit more important in Mythic Plus than it is in Raiding, I would say, being there is only 5 of you. And then again, just use your downtime with Living Flame. And that's pretty much it. With the cooldowns, again, don't forget you've now got, you've got Stasis, you've got Rewind, which is immensely powerful. And don't forget that you have got these at your disposal, and all the cooldowns that I mentioned earlier. So that's it, guys. You've now learned how to play Preservation Evoker for Dragonflight Season 3, 10.2 and 10.2.5. Hope this was good. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I've done a lot of other class videos, and I'd really love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Again, if you need any help at all, or you want to level with people, do dungeons with people, learn specs, talk to some experts, etc., we have got cutting edge raid leaders and guild members in the Discord. So there's a plethora of people with different amounts of knowledge, etc., that can actually help you in a non-judgmental manner in our WoW community. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also leave a thumbs up. If you would like to go the extra mile and support me, you can actually get these videos earlier. For example, this video you would have been able to get 2 days earlier by either joining my Patreon or becoming a YouTube member with a join button down below and the Patreon link in my description. That, of course, helps support me, which then helps me get out more videos because I have to work less on all of my other 2,000 jobs that I do.